Good evening, Director of Communications Megan Mooney here for the City of Hobbs with our Deputy City Clerk Molly Maldonado. We are in the final minutes of election night 2020 for the City of Hobbs municipal election. We wanted to share some information with you. Make sure that if you haven't voted, that you are well aware of what's on the ballot and why you need to get to the polling locations right away. Now, those 4 locations are, Molly, if you can make sure that our listeners know.
Yes. So election day today, the polls did open up at 7, and the last hour to vote is at 7 p.m. And so our voting locations is a Hobbs City Hall Annex. And I want to clarify that it's a City Hall Annex and not the Lee County Annex. So please come to the City Hall Annex at 200 East Broadway to cast your vote. The other 3 locations is the Hobbs Municipal Schools Training Center that's located at 2110 East Sanger. And we have the Hobbs Teen Center located at 620 West Alto. And we have the Lee County Event Center at 5101 North Levington Highway. Please do bring your photo ID. It is a requirement in order to cast your vote. And again, you do have to 7 p.m. to come cast your vote.
So that's great. 4 locations, different areas of town to make it more convenient for our voters and more available for every single person. We don't have an excuse to not cast our vote. So now we have a few propositions on the ballot, Molly. Now, how many propositions are there?
We do have 5 propositions on the ballot.
For changes to our city charter, right?
That is correct.
Which is our local law, am I correct?
That is the city laws that we do follow here for the City of Hobbs.
All right. Now, can you share some information about each proposition or possible amendment to the city charter for us?
Yes. So the charters, the amendments to the charter, which is propositions, but the amendments to the charters. The first one is to remove the 180-day residency requirement for the candidates as required by the New Mexico Constitution.
Okay. So that would be they require it, but we would remove it from ours specifically.
And actually, the New Mexico Constitution, it requires that they do not have to reside 180 days. So we basically want to follow the state law.
Awesome. Okay. So as soon as you move to that area and you become a resident, you can then become a candidate.
That is correct.
Okay.
Proposition number 2 is to remove the requirements for runoff elections, and thus the single candidate with the highest number of the votes for an office shall be declared the winner.
Now, how many runoff elections have we had, Molly?
We've had 2 runoff elections.
Okay, and the most recent one was very recently.
Which was in 2018. We had in District 5. We had a runoff election. Because the candidate has to win by 40% or more, and he did not, so therefore they had to run off for an election.
Which was a lot of effort on our city staff and on taxpayer dollars. We basically had to do all the same advertising and polling locations all over again, so it was twice the cost.
Correct, and really what we do is the following day we literally re-up and do the election again, so really mimic the election, and it's just kind of shortened the time, but it's really mimic the election. And if we do have a runoff election, it would be held on April the 14th.
All right, perfect. Thank you for plugging that in there as well. Okay. And then
proposition number 3 is to add the power to the City Commission to provide advice and consent by resolution regarding the termination of the city attorney.
Okay, so currently that responsibility or that ability resides solely on the city manager, correct?
That is correct. And so therefore, if they wanted to terminate the city manager, it would have to go before the commission by resolution.
Okay, perfect.
And let me turn my page here.
Our fourth proposition, folks.
Proposition number 4 is to remove the specific recall provisions for the mayor and any city commissioner and provide the recall election as set forth in the Recall Act in the New Mexico state statute.
Okay, so can you explain that one a little bit for us in kind of some layman terms, maybe?
Correct, because the New Mexico already has a state statutes on recall, and so we basically want to mimic the state law on recall provisions, and so we follow the state law.
Okay, and then this last one, this is a pretty common change throughout the nation, am I correct? Of whether it is local law or policies, whatever it is of an organization. So, can you give us some?
Yes, so proposition number 5, and which is the last one, is to add a new section providing that Whoever the masculine gender is used in the charter, it shall be construed to include the feminine.
Okay, so everywhere in the charter where it states he shall do this, he has this responsibility, it will be he or she, right?
That is correct.
Because there we go, we have those modern changes coming into play. All right, now what offices are on the ballot?
Okay, so we do have, starting with the mayor's position, we have 2 candidates in that one, and then we also have commissioners for districts 1, 2, and 3. And then we have in districts 4, 5, and 6, they'll be voting for the mayor and the judge at large. And all the districts will also be voting for the mayor at large and for the judge at large.
Okay, so only the residents of districts 1, 2, and 3, you only vote for your district commissioner, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so if you live in districts 4, 5, or 6, you're only voting for the judge and mayor and propositions.
That is correct.
Okay, so if you are in districts 1 through 3, then you vote for the propositions as well as all the offices. And if you do not live in one of those districts within city limits, then you will vote for the mayor and judge offices as well as the propositions. So those are going to be your elected officials for the next couple of years, folks. So you want to make sure that democracy works. It's best when all of us participate. If you're registered to vote, please understand how important that responsibility it is. It is your civic duty. It is what our nation is built upon, as well as our community. And we want to make sure that we represent you well. We only know how to do so if we hear from every single one of you.
And I would like to clarify that you do have to be registered inside the city limits in order to be eligible to vote at this municipal officer election. So if you reside outside the city limits and are registered outside the city limits, you are not eligible to vote at this election.
Now remind us, Molly, the 4 polling locations.
Okay, so that's Hobbs City Hall Annex, which is at 200 East Broadway. You have the Hobbs Municipal Schools Training Center that's located at 2110 East Sanger. And you have the Hobbs Teen Center at 620 West Alto. And then you have the Lee County Event Center at 5101 North Leamington Highway.
Okay, now bring your photo ID, Hobbs, and come out and vote. Thank you, Molly.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.